Real quick before this video starts, I just want to say that this is part one of a two-part video. The reason I've split it into two parts is because the raw recording of me listening to this album is 2.5 hours, which would have resulted in a video well over an hour long, which is way too long for a single part video. And also it would have taken me just too long to edit. I needed to get at least one part of this out today. And had I just put it all into one thing, I would have ended up editing until like midnight and wouldn't have the video out until 1 or 2 a.m. So I decided to just split this one into a two-parter, and part two should hopefully not take too long to get out. But with that being said, enjoy part one of this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are listening to the new Mount Eerie album, Night Palace. This is one of my most excited releases of the entire year. If you guys don't know, The Glow Part 2 and A Crow Looked at Me are both in my top 20 albums of all time. Those are both Phil Elverum projects. Phil Elverum is, of course, the front man of both the Microphones and Mount Eerie. And I fucking love both of those albums to such an insane degree, to the point where I've been scared to check out his other stuff because of fear that it won't be quite as good. But when we got the first taster of this new album, Night Palace, I Walk, I thought that song was on par with the stuff I'd heard on The Glow Part 2. It was just as beautiful and engaging. It created such a strong atmosphere, and I feel like it really set up such a beautiful tone for this album that has me ridiculously excited for it. This album came out literally today. It is 26 songs, an hour and 20 minutes. This video this video might have to be a two-parter, okay? We might have to split this video down the middle. It's your first album you've listened to by them. Oh man, this is going to be so good. You are going to experience peak, okay? Yeah, we also have a sequel track from a Microphone song. We have The Gleam Part 3, which, you know, of course, The Glow Part 2 has The Gleam Part 2, which is kind of hype, okay? Enough stalling. Let's just get into this. Track 1, Night Palace. Wonder what Fantano and Brad will think of this album. I mean, based on the singles, I can only assume they're gonna like it. Oh, damn. You know, with every Phil Elverum project I've heard, there's always been like an inherent coziness with them, despite something that would contradict it. Like you have on The Glow Part 2, it has all of these super heavy just blasts of noise moments on like the moon and tracks like that. And then on A Crow Looked at Me, you have some of the like just most deep, depressing, real, hard-hitting lyrics ever written on like any songs ever. But both of the albums have such an inherent coziness to them. And I'm getting the same thing here, where this is so electronic and it's meant to feel so off-putting, but there's just something very warm about this that feels just so like at home, if that makes sense. And oh bro, this album's gonna be so good. This shit's gonna be so good. We're one song into a 26 song album and I've already decided I like it. Interesting percussion. There's always really cool shit going on with the percussion on Phil Elverum projects. Like on the opening track of The Glow Part 2, where it sounds like he pulls the snare wire and then lets it go to hit down on the snare. It creates like the tension and release type sound. Alright, I'm getting Genius up. I want to be able to look at the lyrics. Looking out on the world. Yeah, completely agree. The vast majority, like that's what Phil Elverum does best, is having it be so beautiful, but so like just off. Yeah, somber is a good way to put it. He just does that so well. And so what if no one ever finds this notebook? Amazing, actually fucking amazing. Oh my god, that is everything I could want in an opener to a Phil Elverum project. That's like taking me back to listening to The Glow Part 2 for the first time. I saw lightning last night but heard nothing. The whole half of the sky flashed a couple times, but no rain, no sheet metal rolling. Living close to the ground, I talk back to birds way more than I used to. A spirit world found, out past where belief blows away. I saw flashing, I saw plumes of smoke. I put the kid to bed, I washed the dishes in the night. Nobody burns like me at the sink, looking out on the world, this lightning inside. I'm in love with the last of the light, however long I have left in life. Okay, so maybe the Night Palace is just kind of him being in his own head at nighttime. It's a state that he goes to when it gets late at night, and it's just him left alone with his thoughts. And it leading him down very dark places, like talking about however long he has left in life, and then he ends it off with saying, so what if no one ever finds this notebook? So very deep, very heavy way to start this, and that is exactly what I would want from this. I'm feeling a 9.6 on this opener. This is fucking fantastic, and exactly what I want from an opener for a Phil Elverum project. Next track, Huge Fire. God, those electric guitars are gorgeous.
It grew, and I fell, and I kept throwing whatever I could pick up into the flames.
Seems like he's talking about letting go of things here. He's saying, learning to breathe beneath the surface of all of the wrecked up things I haul with me around. And then he goes on to say in the next verse, he says, I crawled forward into a clearing at dusk. I can't fucking read, man. I crawled forward into a clearing at dusk and got a huge fire going. It grew, night fell, and I kept throwing whatever I could pick up into the flames. So it sort of seems like he is, yeah, just finally throwing away, or not throwing away, finally getting rid of all of this emotional baggage that he is keeping with him that has been like holding him down for so long. And it's like this overwhelming feeling of relief and, I guess, empowerment. And I think that fits the more grand, massive sound that this song is going for, with this super heavy percussion, lots of thick bass, and these electric guitars, sort of adding even more layers to this as well. Oh, trust me,
This is my life.
you have stumbled across the best shit ever. Phil Elverum is like a genius. Like, the Glow Part 2 is in my top 5 albums of all time.
There's a fire, but it's at my back.
Oh my god. Wow. Holy shit. Yeah. God, this really is just bringing me back to that fucking Glow Part 2 level of quality. This is beyond impressive that he is still able to put out stuff this good now that he's been doing this, what, like 25 years at this point? He started making music in like the late 90s, I think, right? Something like that, at least. Yeah, the fact that he's still just writing songs that are this emotionally potent, that are this instrumentally perfect and dense, and the production is so rich. Just looking back at this writing, man, it just hits all the right notes. It's a song about moving on and moving past all of this emotional baggage that just does it in such a powerful and profound way without being too heady. And that is what Phil Elverum does so well, is that he is able to write songs that are so such powerful statements without having to think about it too much. It is just sort of what you're given on a surface level, but it's just that well written that it just tells such a gorgeous story on top of it. If I was watching a movie, what movie do I think this would fit in? This would be perfect for a pretentious indie movie. I would say like some sort of indie drama film that uses like some sort of grainy effect to make it look like it's shot on film, when in actuality it's just shot on like some shitty digital camera with an effect on it. 9.8. Just a hair below a 10. Just the tiniest bit. And that's because I know that this album gets better with I Walk. And I don't quite think that was on the same level as I Walk, but still, that song is damn near perfect. Next up, we have Breaths. Glad to hear you're doing well, Travis. Oh yeah, one of the genres listed on Album of the Year for this was field recordings. So, sounds like this is a field recording of just like a super windy day. What, is this a mic on like max gain? Just inside of a drum kit? Phil Elverum's albums do sort of have a movie-like quality to them with their storytelling. We're really leaning into the avant-garde shit with this though. This is like way more... There's a certain level of like... I don't want to say pretentiousness here, but there's a certain level of like, you know, heady music nerd type shit with this that I feel is a step above some of the older stuff that I've heard at least. It's just so crunched that it completely transforms the sound of the drums. Okay, wasn't expecting that. That didn't work. I hate to say it, but I don't think that worked, unfortunately. I could see what they were going for. It was shocking, but it was a bit much. I like that he has his daughter doing a little spoken word bit at the end there. That was pretty cool. But the fucking screaming going into this super... Like, he has his heavier moments on the songs and the noisier moments on his songs, but that was like... Felt like it was pushing it a bit too much and it was trying a little too hard to be the shocking moment. And it sort of more felt like it wanted to jump scare you rather than be an emotionally powerful moment. Bit of an odd choice. Rest of the song is incredible though. The fact that you think it's a bit much means that the song succeeded. Not necessarily, because I think it's a bit much in a negative way. Whereas with the Glow Part 2, you have moments that are a bit much in like an overwhelming sort of emotional swell way. This is a bit much in a, look at what I'm doing! Look at this big explosive moment. You guys remember this, right? Then it just sort of feels a bit unnecessary. But still, I will say the rest of the song is incredible. I think that the rest of the song, it's leaning into the more like avant-garde, folky stuff with like the, I'm guessing a mic with just the gain turned all the way up, being placed inside probably a kick drum, and then just having the drums being bashed, like bashing the shit out of the drums while it's in there, creating some very horrible noises that I think work very well. And you've got Phil Elverum again providing... I wasn't even paying attention to the lyrics. Let me look back through these. In a snowfall, I stop my working for a second. In the little space between my breaths, I hear a small sound beneath the blood rushing, crouched, buried away. The basement of my life. I go downstairs in the dark, cold wind in the face, incomprehension. Between each breath I breathe out, there's a little moment of death. Everything hangs, and then I draw in air again. In this constant coming back to life, a flickering spark jumps sharp in my eye. I scan the horizon from the spot where I stand, nothing returns. Is this song meant to be him going into, like on the first song, being caught inside of a like mind palace thing, but now he's going to like the deeper, darker thoughts? Like the actual repressed rage and depression and stuff like that? Is that what this is meant to be? Yeah, this song... writing-wise, is a bit of a mess. Oh, wait. Oh, no, the screaming song was a different song. It transitioned into a different song and I didn't realize. Oh, Breaths is its own thing and then Swallowed Alive. Oh. I was too busy looking at Genius, I didn't even realize they were two different tracks. Whoopsies. Yeah, I will say that the writing is still a bit disjointed on Breaths. It just sort of feels a little too... like all over the place, like it doesn't really fully tie together. And I think the transition into Swallowed Alive is a little awkward and it does bring Breaths down a bit for me. I still think it's good, but unfortunately I can't quite say it's great, and it's definitely the worst so far. It's a solid 7 for me, like a 7.6. And then Swallowed Alive is like a 6. I don't think it fully worked. It was okay. I could see what they were going for, and I think it's executed fine. Yeah, it just felt like it was doing a bit too much. My Canopy.
Some affection is mercurial. I've gone in and out of favor with with no footing, but my love for you, my child, is as permanent as sky. Breathe forever beneath. I love you.
Okay. Lovely little track dedicated to his child. It does kind of feel like after all of the super intense sort of outbursts of emotion, that does sort of feel like him, especially considering that you had his kid talking at the end of the previous track. That one does sort of feel like him taking a moment and being sort of brought back to reality by her after the super intense emotions of the previous two songs. That is actually a pretty nice continuation that I think works genuinely very well. I'd give that a high 8, like an 8.8, 8.9. It's like just below a 9 for me. Broom of Wind. Was this another song that was a single? I might be wrong, but I think it was.
Sweeping with an
It was, yeah.
broom to sweep up. When my life is worn to a numb, I too will be swept up. Only the occurrence of a person.
Yeah, I love that just as much as when I first heard it. Great transition into I Walk as well. I didn't even... Oh, wait, sorry. I already know I like I Walk anyway, so it doesn't even matter. I think that song actually works really well before I Walk. I didn't even realize that those two songs are going to be back-to-back. Yeah, Broom of Wind is a little more straightforward of a track, coming after the very, like, avant-garde, very weird, heady instrumentals of the previous songs. That one just sort of feels like a return to the basics after being brought back down to reality on my Canopy, and I think that is a very nice progression of the sound. It also is a great transition piece into I Walk, and I think that this is a great setup for that song. So I am feeling a solid 9, like a 9.5 on that one. Incredible song. Next up, I Walk. Who's messaging me on Discord, man? The choice to have these very soft, subtle electronic drums here is really nice. Adds such a nice, like, unique texture to this one that a lot of other Mount Eerie stuff doesn't have. Oh, the lyrics. Okay, the lyrics, yeah, just a straight up follow up of the previous song, yeah. With the previous song, he was just talking about traversing the land, despite the fact that he too was gonna, you know, fall apart and break away like the broom he was sweeping with. I just still walk dragging through stone. Yeah, I've talked a lot on this album about this being like, oh, this is bringing me back to the Glow Part 2. This is like that Glow Part 2 level of quality. That song actually is. Like, that song is literally as good as my favorite songs off of the Glow Part 2. Every time I hear that song, it has me, like, choked up. It's just such a gorgeous expression of such an intense and wild emotion. Just feeling like you're constantly walking through life with no destination, no goal. Listen, if any song was a good reference point for what you would get out of other Phil Elverum projects, I would say I Walk out of every song so far is like the best representation of that. I Walk is a 10. It is up there with my favorite songs on the Glow Part 2, and it is a contender for my favorite Phil Elverum song that I've heard, full stop. It is so gorgeous in ways that I cannot physically describe with words, and I wish that I could live in the environment that this song builds. It is literal perfection. Next track, Soft Air.
I slept another few years. I saw the soft air come down and blow into my lungs like
Okay, I'm just gonna let this shit play out. I'm feeling a 9.7 on that. That was an amazing interlude. Fucking
it's as if
gorgeous.
I'm looking at a
Like,
corner of the
mind
sky
blowing.
through a cardboard tube. I'm impressed, seems huge. This is my idea. Knowing that white winds find me from a place I'll never know.
Like, you don't have a destination or goal.
I sit
Yeah,
and breathe.
he's able to capture like specific like thoughts so well, and he's like dragging them out for entire songs without. Dragging them out's the wrong word. He's able to like bring them into entire songs, and have them not feel like they're dragged out too much. He just explores them in such interesting and creative ways. Man, I fucking love Phil Elverum. He is actually the GOAT. Okay, no one tops Phil. No one is on top of Phil. Okay, this man is the best. It's nice that we're getting a handful of tracks on here, like Broom of Wind and this track, that are just kind of more straightforward sounding rock songs. Have a much clearer structure. They are a lot more immediate, and they're a lot smaller in scale and length as well, which is really nice. They're just sort of like these nice little quick hits that add a nice jump in the pacing for me, and I don't feel like it like ruins the album at all. It doesn't make it feel like it's stopping or stopping and starting constantly, which a lot of times, if you're having a lot of quicker songs intertwined with these slower songs, it can feel like that. But seriously, it does feel like it improves the pacing a bunch to have these in here. Even Michael Gira in my eyes. Michael Gira is an incredible composer, but songwriter, I'd give it to Phil Elverum. Michael Gira's compositional skills are fucking flawless. That man can compose a masterpiece. But as an actual songwriter, in terms of lyrics, and in terms of being able to put such intense emotions and thoughts into words, I would definitely give it to Phil Elverum. I would give this song a 9.2, by the way. Wind and Fog. And also Wind and Fog Part 2. I guess I'll just combine these into one.
Wind and fog.
It's nice to see the noise rock thing being put in here again. That's pretty cool. That instrument, now that is like ripped straight out of the Glow Part 2. Like one of the heavier moments on that album. That sounds exactly like, I don't remember which song it is, but it sounds exactly like the instrumentals on one of the songs, and I don't remember which one, and it's bugging the fuck out of me. Flat 9, really great. Nice to see the noise rock being implemented. Wind and Fog Part 2. You like the composition of Swans a lot, especially a lot of stuff on soundtracks for The Blind and the Post-Haste. Oh yeah. Michael Gira's compositional skills are just nuts.
Wind and fog, so we air out the bedroom.
Oh my god.
I'll see you in the morning.
God fucking damn it, man. This album's too good. It's too good. Oh my god. Atmosphere unmatched. Unmatched. It is reaching Glow Part 2 levels of aesthetic satisfaction. That's not what I was trying to get across. You know what I mean, though. It is just so fucking pretty. It doesn't hold back on the instrumentals. It is going for it in every single, like, facet possible. Is it passable? Yeah. I'd say this is passable. Wind and Fog Part 2 is my second favorite so far and my second 10 of this album. That was one of the simplest songs, and it greatly benefits from it because I feel like it's able to just be so immersive. Like, I'm getting choked up talking about this, man. This album is... Next up, Blurred World.
Because the turning of planets won't stop. Prescription worsening.
Oh, damn.
I go outside to piss into the night. Myself just as blurry.
Lovely little interlude. Seems to be talking about his fear of aging here. Because the planets won't stop. My eyes have gone blurrier. I'm getting older still. Prescription worsening. There are shapes in the sundown half-light. The wind is moving things. I go outside to piss into the night just before okay, so at first he's talking about what's troubling him. The fact that he's getting older. Prescription's worsening. He's having trouble with his eyesight. And things just are moving at too fast of a pace for him. But then he sort of goes outside, he absorbs the warm air of the night and just lets himself get lost in this pretty moment. Which, I guess that's what the Night Palace is meant to be, is him just being sat there at night and thinking to himself. I think that's what the actual overall concept of this album is its different think pieces and how Phil Elverum sort of deals with these thoughts in different ways. And I think that's such an interesting concept of just having all of these different things and then exploring them through just deep thinking to yourself in the night. It's a fantastic concept with even better execution. I am in love with this. That song is a 9.2 for me. What is possibly the final track of part 1, if I end up making this a 2-parter, I Heard Whales, I Think.
Walking slowly back and forth on a bluff along the water, seeing waves roll in the blowing, far from any other person. I heard actual music riding on the wind, barely there, though it couldn't have been.
There's the field recordings. Oh, you can hear the music in the background. Okay. I love that he lets you sit in these these like field recording moments. There was one on Breaths as well, and he just really lets you just sit and fully soak in these moments.
It could have been whales, deep watching, doing their singing. It could have been some ancient shipwreck, or my hallucination could have been the real thing, lean way out over the edge.
Man, sounds just so fucking sad. It's so just... Even songs like that, where it's like sort of a nice thought, it's put across in a way that is still just so emotionally devastating. Yeah, that song is my new second favorite on the album. It's a 10. That is such a perfect way to end off the first half of this album. It is the third song on the album that has had me choking up. Like, if I say this with a lot of songs, but I do genuinely mean it. If I wasn't recording, I would be crying to that song. This is fucking devastating, dude. I forget just how much punch you get out of a Phil Elverum album the first time hearing it, and like on further listens as well, but the first time you hear one of his albums, it's just like constantly getting punched in the face, but in the best way possible, if that makes sense. Thank you all so much for watching part 1 of this video. Let me know what you think of the first half of the sound down below. How does it compare to other Phil Elverum projects, and does it live up to your expectations? Let me know what other albums you'd like to see me listen to down in the comments. Links in the description to my Discord, my album of the year, my Twitter, and my second channel. Check those out if you haven't. Like and sub if you haven't as well. And yeah, I will see you all in part 2.